Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Maureen Gashero.
And my name is Sharon Ochola.
And it's about that time that we talk about intercultural dating. So, Sharon, I'm gonna start with you.
With
I
what?
know you're not ready with this one.
Exactly. So for me, when she says intercultural, what comes to mind is mainly interethnic, which is just similar.
Yeah.
Just the same thing.
Interchangeable.
So yes, so it's in regards to like dating outside your tribe, especially in the context of Kenya. Yes. Where we proudly have how many tribes?
42. Shit.
42.
We don't even. I wish you asked me this when we were in primary school. I knew all the tribes and where they came from, all those routes they used. Right now, I don't know shit. I don't know nothing.
Yeah. So as you've heard from our names, also we're representing
Different ethnic groups.
yes.
Yeah.
And so
she's Luo. I am Kikuyu.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's something to be proud about, like our ethnicity.
Yeah.
It's the tribes, our ethnic groups is what makes us Kenyan. So I feel like it's something that it should be a positive thing,
Yeah.
and it's something to celebrate. It's okay to have differences. We can't all be the same in this world. So sometimes those differences is what makes us, it's what unites us, it's what makes us us. Like in this case, it's what makes us Kenyan. Will we be Kenyans without that? But sadly enough, there is some negativity and stereotypes and discrimination that comes with that.
And tribalism.
Yes.
A whole lot of it.
Exactly. And this is something to think about. But in this context, our entry point will be in regards to relationships.
Romantic relationships, right?
Yes, romantic relationship. Even like just relationship, like friendship, like in our case. Yeah. So what's your take on intercultural or interethnic relationships?
Well, based on my own personal experience, there is a lot of tribalism based on intercultural dating. And this comes from both sides, you know. It can come from the woman's side or the man's side, regardless of their ethnic group. Like for me, I know in my family, it's kind of taboo to bring in another tribe. Guys,
taboo?
Yes, taboo, like literally taboo. In my extended family, in my nuclear family. And guys, this is a disclaimer. Whatever information we are sharing here, we are sharing it for the benefit of all of us. It's not for okay, fine, it's open for judgment, it's okay, but just know that we are giving this information so that it can benefit you. So no, it can be a bit personal.
Yes.
Like when I talk about my nuclear family having a taboo in like bringing in another tribe, it's because, honestly speaking, it's because of cultural shock. You know, we don't know what that other community believes in when it comes to marriage. We don't know what taboos they hold. We don't know what they think about having kids with someone who is outside their cultural group. You see, so it brings in a lot of new stuff that people are not ready to learn.
Yes.
For me, that is how I see it.
Yes. And you feel one way to like break those barriers, the barriers that divide us based on a tribe or ethnicity, is by actually talking about things and creating awareness also. So I believe that's what we are doing. We're just giving it a personal touch by talking about like our individual or personal experiences. Yes.
So maybe this brings us to the most interesting part. Like, would you date someone who is outside your ethnic group? And have you dated someone outside your ethnic group?
Okay, so the answer to that question is yes. I have dated someone outside my ethnic group.
Which group exactly?
Why are you putting me on the spot?
Because we want to know specifically how was your experience. Like, let's say maybe you dated another Luo. Oh wait, we're not discussing that. You can tell us maybe the difference between dating a Luo and dating a Kikuyu or a Kamba. Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to inter-ethnic relationship, I've dated a Luya. Yes, I've dated a Luya.
Wow.
Yeah. And the only challenge that is there, I guess it's in regards to like the cultural norms that each community holds, and sometimes it stems from minor things like, okay, minor in quotes, because it may not be minor to some, especially if it's like affecting your relationship in a way. It's like in regards to like food. Yeah.
Food.
Yes. You see, she considers it minor.
I know.
She considers it
Able to tell us
minor.
more?
No, okay. So that one, I think it was more of like when I dated. Okay, this is extending from the tribe to maybe outside, but it also points out to the cultural difference that I'm talking about. So when I dated oh gosh, do I need to put this out there? Okay, when I dated a Nigerian, so their culture in regards to food is totally different from what we have. Okay, when it comes to someone like a Luya, you might have that similarities in like, okay, we eat ugali, we eat kales, chicken, fish. That one you can
There's that
find.
familiarity. Yeah.
Exactly. But my only issue with the Luya is the quantity of ugali. Anyway, maybe that's also a stereotype,
Oh wait, yeah.
That's
that's a stereotype.
That's also a stereotype because you're like, you grow up thinking, when you're dating a lawyer, then you need to learn how to cook proper ugali. It can be a positive, or it can also be. It can, there's some truth to it, in that one. There's some truth to it. So, and if I don't know how to cook big ugali, or my preference is rice, pasta. Yeah, you might have issues. Or maybe, for instance, okay, now you're heading into these stereotypes and I'm feeling uncomfortable. Say there's this particular stereotype that comes with your community. Thank goodness you're here. You can either agree or disagree that your way of cooking certain foods is like mixing a lot of things
and putting waru in everything.
Exactly. And
waru is potatoes, guys.
And for, I guess, other tribes, it might not be the case, and I think you might
no, I think to some extent it's true. To some extent it's true. As Kikuyus, we like to put potatoes in every meal. Because we love potatoes. I think when the colonialists brought those new food, Central Province provides a lot of potatoes, or Irish potatoes. So it became somewhat a staple food. Yes. Just like Githeri is a staple food to Kikuyus, you see. So you find a lot of potatoes in most of our dishes.
Yes.
And soup.
So the thing is, if for instance, even like in a friendship, if I'm not used to that particular kind of food, then we might clash a bit, but it's not like, at the end of the day, we are two individuals who really truly care about each other, if it's friendship or a relationship, for instance. And what matters is the way the two of you as individuals handle things, like your communication, how you communicate things with the other. You're like, I like, what you prepare and everything. I can eat it once in a while, but do we really have to mix?
Do you have to put waru in fish?
Yes, and it's okay. So,
Wow.
so that's the challenge. And in every relationship, there's gonna be challenges based on the fact that you're two different individuals coming from totally different backgrounds and upbringing, and you gonna have to like find a way
To integrate.
yes, and
those
live
values.
together.
Yeah.
So it's just good to like have good communication and also be willing to also compromise and for the sake of the other as well. So what I was talking about in regards to food, when it comes to like Luyas, there's that common ground, but when you're dating someone from a totally different culture, like a Nigerian, you know, their food is way different from ours.
For
So
example,
you,
maybe you can tell us what did the Nigerian like prefer? Did he prefer?
So
what did he prefer eating?
So the thing is, their food is totally different. I mean, they eat fufu, they eat egusi soup. You see, some of these things are not even familiar
we
to.
don't even know it.
To us as Kenyans. The only time you've heard those terms, maybe it's in the Nigerian movies.
Yeah.
You know, so me growing up, I have no experience preparing jollof rice or, you know, what they eat. And then in regards to like mixing, these guys mix matumbo, that is matumbo. Yeah, matumbo. Let me just call it matumbo because if we put it in English, so it's a Kenyan dish, matumbo. They mix it with beef. So they tend to mix a lot of things. And if you're not used to it, it may be like, you know.
Wow.
So the challenge now for that is in a case whereby I need to prepare my man a meal or something, you're like, is he going to like what I cook? You know? Or him making, he wants to eat a particular food and he has to prepare it and he doesn't know even how I will take it because maybe it's not what I'm used to. So that's like what you can say a minor, but it's some of the challenges that comes with like different cultures. Yeah. So he had to learn how to eat ugali. But now, good thing is we have certain foods like beef and chicken, which it's also familiar.
It's common, yeah.
And it's also familiar with them. Even like yes, let me leave it there. I wanted to extend it to like imagine an African dating a Chinese in regards to like food preference. Anyway, that's a topic for some other day. So like that's one of the challenges
that
I think.
Yes. Yeah. And I'd like to add just briefly, because I also dated an Arab from Malindi, and for them they are used to Swahili dishes. I know you can imagine a Kikuyu and Swahili dishes, my friend. I don't know how to cook pilau. I don't know how to cook biryani. And honestly, I was still in campus back then, so I wasn't exactly familiar with those recipes, you know. So it was really difficult for me, and it used to be intriguing whenever I used to go to their home, and then I find that they've prepared all these dishes, and I'm like, wow, Sasa, what do you call this? What do you call this? What do you call this? And he's like, where are you from? Yeah, so there used to be a lot of culture shock in regard to foods.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is just one aspect.
Yeah, that's one aspect. So on to the next. What do you think is the other like cultural aspect that might
comes up?
Yes.
I would say gender roles. Yeah, gender roles, and we talked about this during the feminism video. Gender roles in every ethnic group is very different. You might find that as Kikuyus have really empowered the woman, and also, funny thing, it depends on the region you come from. You'll find that maybe Kikuyus from Murang'a do things a certain way. Kikuyus from Kiambu do things a certain way. Kikuyus from Nyeri, you see. So it's tough. It's tough. So it really depends on where you come from. Like myself, I am a mix of Nyeri and Kiambu, where women are very empowered, and you find that sometimes we are the leaders in our families. Yeah, and I don't know.
That
It's
might not be
awesome.
taken lightly.
It can't
by
be taken
certain-
lightly, especially if you're dating someone like, I think, a Luo. In your ethnic group, how is that taken when a woman is more is it feminist or alpha? When a woman is an alpha female, how is
Yeah.
that taken in your ethnic group?
I guess it depends. It depends with. It depends. So there is certain aspects like the a particular family and the way they do things, but there's also the general, right? But given the way culture has been there, is that it's patriarchal in nature, whereby the man is the head, the man is the leader, is the leader of the home. So there's certain respect that's given to the man, yes, and
the man,
to the extent of the extent of that authority, I guess it depends with the the context. Like if it's in the village, the way things are done in the village and
different.
the way things are done in the city are totally different. You'll find that, yeah, even the way you relate sometimes with your man around his family or around the tribesmen, or it's totally different. So, but yes, there's that aspect of like the man is the head of the home, and then there are certain respects that needs to be attributed to men. Yes.
Okay. Because for me, that is something I've really had a challenge with. Sometimes you may be seeing this guy who is a prospect, and he really has a lot of problems with how maybe you talk to him, how maybe you approach certain issues. He feels threatened. Maybe he feels his masculinity is being threatened. And this is just because that maybe where I come from, I have seen women leading, and I know it's not a problem. I know that it's okay for me to voice my opinions as a person, not just as a woman.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is gender roles are things that can really interfere with intercultural dating.
Yeah, I think among particular communities per se,
Yeah.
that order, just like the man having that authority or being the head of the home, is there. Like you even find in certain settings whereby the man will be given the first priority to like speak, and then the lady, or he'll speak last because they're going by order of like he'll be the one to introduce the wife, and all this just relates to like cultural norms, and not just cultural norms but also religion. Yeah.
Especially religion is something else altogether.
Yeah.
Something else altogether.
Hey, so it depends on that, because okay, let me just clarify in regards to like Christianity. It's like, okay, the Bible, let me not go into religion. The Bible says that the man is the head of the
head of the
home,
family,
yes,
yeah.
and the woman should submit to the man. But I think the other aspect you're forgetting is the same Bible says that the man should love his wife as he loves himself. So it's like, to which authority are you submitting to? Is it a loving, a good, leadership, or it's something that is, it's not even in line with what Christianity or the Christian principle is. If an individual's action is even contrary to what he's fighting for, that supports his authority, then you need to question even that authority, because the final authority does come from God. So anyway, at the end of the day, when it comes to relationship, it is individuals, right? So you two individuals, you come from different backgrounds, where you have this perception of culture, norms, how things should be done in the home. So you need to find a way of compromising and finding a ground where both of you can work.
Yeah.
Is it a challenge if you are coming from different cultures or different ethnic backgrounds? Yes, there will be a bit of a challenge because you might have different worldviews or different perceptions of how things are. But I think with communication and also respect and compromise, then you're able to find a way to make things work. Yeah. But speaking of that, before you get to even that stable ground, there's going to be, some outside voices. At the end of the day, I'm coming from the Chola's family.
Yeah.
Coming from...
So things that your family members will
Yeah.
say.
So family. So what's the role of family and relationships and these intercultural relationships? Does it impact like our choice of or our preference of a partner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that really, it plays a major role because like myself, when I was dating the Arab guy, I remember his mom used to like call him all the time. Like when he posts me in his status, his mom would say that number one, I'm not an Arab, number two, I'm not a Muslim. So it used to bring a lot of issues. Sometimes she would call him when I was there and you would hear a lot of backlash, like why are you with this this I think pagan girl, she used to call me names, and it was hard. It was really hard because you feel like he's actually listening to her and he's taking her side, and he's actually maybe sometimes he's trying to talk to me about becoming a Muslim, and it was really difficult. Like, why can't this person accept me the way I am, like the way I have accepted him? Yeah, but luckily we finally broke up, went our separate ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is something to consider in regards to like a preference or your choice of a partner, and sadly it does. Most people don't go for intercultural relationship, or in your case, if your partner is from a totally different religious
background.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and sometimes it's more of like we don't want to clash with the family, so sometimes you might even give up your choice, your preference, just so as to accommodate the family. And that's something to think about. I feel like though our experiences with intercultural relationships might differ given the family that you're coming from, or your experience with interethnic or intercultural relationships or marriages. Because for instance, if I come in a family or a background whereby I've seen intermarriages, like,
or
and
maybe
I've seen it work. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I come from a home where my mom is Kuk, my dad is Luo,
it will be much easier for you.
Yes, because I'll see that it's done,
possible.
it has worked for them, and even with them, they won't have much limitations to my choice, because they have seen it actually work. It's good to point out that things have improved a lot. Okay, compared to back then, I think there's several. I've heard of several inter-ethnic relationship or intermarriages, and they're working out. So that's a good thing. It means that maybe we are trying to get rid of some of those stereotypes or perceptions that we have,
of which most of them are actually political.
Yeah.
Most of them come from colonial times and also politics. Because from what I know, because I've ever talked to my grandmother about this, in Kenya there wasn't much tribalism before the era of Moi. So the introduction of multi-party sijui hata multi-party ni nini, I don't follow politics or news. So the introduction of that multi-party thing came with tribalism, because you find that this party is made of Kikuyus, this one is made of Luos, Luyas, Kambas, Igbo.
I feel like it stems from way back more than where where you are at. So I think, of course, like there's differences just from the mere fact that we are Luas, we are fishermen. There are certain, activities that we do. We have different cultures and all that. There's that differences, which is what I'm pointing out to be like it's something good. Like it's what makes us us. We can't all be the same. There is the reason why I'm Sharon and she's Maureen, because even twins, they may come from the same family, but they're different, So it's just it's just good to have an understanding despite of our differences. So of course, before the colonialists came, we had different types. I think there were some conflicts, some wars, tribal wars, but I feel like it was just based on the differences. We all have conflicts because of our differences. But the issue was, now when the colonialists came, they took advantage of that and used like the divide and rule, you divide in order to rule and conquer. So especially now among the two major or large communities or tribes, the Luos and the Kikuyu. So they created a much bigger barrier now, whereby even the perception of each other, it was so much inscribed into our brains, into our minds, or we hate them for a particular reason. And even that conflict, it's more intensified in regards to like privileging one over the other. At the end of the day, if I feel like, even in a family setup, if I feel like the parents are privileging you more than me, I'll start feeling some type of way towards you, or I'll start feeling some negative feelings towards you. Mbona we unapewa, if it's slices of bread more than the other, so that's what happened. So that came in with like position in power, like they were allocating positions in power, and that has intensified even up to now, whereby when it comes to politics, it's not even more about generally like what that politician will do to your community, it's or what change. It's like, you guys have been in power for so long, it's our turn to eat, it's our turn to have that share. So we don't want to go so much into that. Yes, into the politics, but you get where we are coming from. So
I think the whole point in this is trying to tell everyone that we don't even know where this came from. Honestly. Why can't I just see you as Sharon and just try to understand why you do things the way you do? Because at the end of the day, even if we are dating a Kikuyu, there will always be differences between us. Yes. Personal preferences, personal values and principles. There are so many differences that you will always have with your partner.
Yes, even if you're coming from the same religion
background,
or even from the same ethnic background, we'll have differences based on like my attributes, my beliefs, and how I view things, and also you. But it's a matter of finding that common ground. And so
accepting each other. As long as the love is there, then you can always find a way to figure out how to balance.
Yes, I feel like we need to stop like just being biased or discriminating against someone else,
or labeling,
based on just some stereotypes. Like sometimes it's even baseless, like you've not even had an actual experience with the person, but you've just made up your own assumptions based on the stereotypes that you hear. It's good to like, that's why I feel like that's where education and
doing
where
research,
education comes in, it brings about a lot of awareness and change. It's like if you're in your cocoon in that ka village in Vihiga, or in that ka village in Rongo, or in that ka village
In Murang'a.
in Murang'a, yes.
Yeah.
When you're just there and all just your perception of what Luos are, or your perception of what Luya ladies are in regards to even relationship, you just hear, oh, Kikuyus love money, oh, Luos were arrogant, which is the other stereotype that exists
I don't know. You might even hear things like Kikuyus from a certain regions are murderers or are violent, and you're like, what? Unless you actually experience these things, then I think just drop the stereotypes. Let's stop labeling people unless you have personal experience. Because actually I was having this discussion with my boyfriend the other day. My current boyfriend is Kisi, and I'm proud to say that, because okay, I didn't know much about Kisses. Honestly, I didn't even realize he was a Kisi until we were way deep in the relationship, and he's the one who actually brought it up, because I realized he has this avoidant attachment style, and I was trying to like bring it up, for communication purpose, and he was like, no, it's because of maybe the way I was raised. I have never seen my dad hugging my mom, so so it can be a bit difficult for me. I didn't know it was a necessity or it was something that I can do, but I'm going to work on it. And so some of these things we can just be open to learning as you go. Like, stop seeing that person as he's a Kisi, he's a Luo, he's a Kamba. See them as a human being. Get to know how does your culture influence you as a person.
Yes, and as from the individual level, the two of you like coming to a union, how is that going to affect your relationship, and then how you're going to maneuver things or make it work? Because at the end of the day, we have differences regardless of
whatever, our color, our our weight, our level of education.
Exactly,
Yeah.
So hey, it's okay to like, if your partner happens to be,
different from you.
Yeah.
It's all about learning and communicating and figuring things out together.
I feel like awareness is really important, and I hope in one way or another this does make you like self-reflect in regards to how you treat others based on their differences, or in how you discriminate. Because we have a really nice friendship and the tribe thing never comes up. I'm like, so why is it that when it comes to politics or during that time is when you realize, oh, my friend is Kikuyu? I mean, we've been okay so far. Like, we've always been that way. So why does that matter when? So don't be easily influenced by perceptions or stereotypical beliefs that exist. At the end of the day, make your choice as an individual. And but I think it might be difficult sometimes when now the family is involved in relationship, because when you're marrying, sometimes it's just not the two individuals, it's family.
The family is also coming.
They are merging. So but if we do change our beliefs and we do change who we are, even including like families, then we might actually have quite healthy, acceptable intercultural relationships. Yeah,
that's true. And when it comes to your marriage, for me, okay, of course I'm not married yet, but according to experiences I've had from other people who are in intercultural marriages, it's all about your personal values and where you are with your partner. If you're able to communicate that I love this person, I love them just the way they are, your family can actually feel that, wow, she actually wants this. You know, there's no need for us to actually to stop this just because of our cultural differences or whatever our ancestors wanted, you know. Yeah, so it all boils down to personal choices. Yeah.
I think the only issue when it comes to such relationships, if it's like our differences is so much that we are clashing heads and we can't get to agree with my partner, or we're not both willing to like bend a little bit to accommodate each other, that's where now it will be an issue. For instance, if you come from a community whereby you're like, they're just, I cannot work, you know, that's your perception, whether it's come from cultural norms or whatever it's coming from, then we'll butt head, especially if that's something I want to pursue and you're like, or whereby you're like, I can't not raise my voice, but I can't have an opinion on something. So yeah, but at the end of the day, there's ways to make things work.
Yeah. So that is it for today, guys. It was really nice having you. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down below and hit the bell for notifications for every time that we post a video. And other than that, thank you so much, and
yes.
bye
All
bye.
right, thank you guys. I feel like there's so much that can be talked about on this, but that's just that's what we have for now. If you have any further thoughts like language barriers or any other difficulties you feel contributions to like why there are no intercultural or interethnic marriages, then let us know down below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching this far.
Yeah.
And as she said, subscribe.
Subscribe. Okay,
Until next time. Bye.